Every rideshare driver is a drug mule. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Every rideshare driver, whether you're driving for Uber or Lyft, has been a drug mule at some time. We've all had narcotics in our vehicles, whether you know about it or not, particularly those who do trips in the wee hours of the morning, the after club crowd, or folks who simply operate in urban areas. We've all had narcotics in our vehicles. So what are we bringing this up for today? Well, we're going to be talking about none other than Freeman Allen III. This story comes to you out of Ohio. On January 19th of this year, the Ohio State Troopers near Youngstown, Ohio, pulled over an Uber car on I-80 for what they state was an improper lane change and speeding. Now, during the interaction of the traffic stop, a drug-sniffing canine was called to the scene, and the dog alerted on the back seat. And during the course of the search, they found 2 packages which tested positive for cocaine. So that Uber passenger, Freeman Allen III, is currently out on a $20,000 bond. So we're bringing this up for the simple fact, first of all, what can get you profiled driving as an Uber or Lyft driver? How many of you folks out there have been stopped by authorities? If you were stopped with a passenger in your vehicle, I'm just curious to know, did the police interact with your passenger at all? Technically, by law, your passenger, who is not involved in any of the reasons why they stopped you, do not have to correspond to the police officer. So if the passenger says, I don't want to give you my ID, I don't want to talk to you, a lot of states, I believe most states in the country, basically protect his rights to remain silent. He's not driving a car. He doesn't have to show an ID, doesn't have to give his name, doesn't have to talk at all. However, in this case, as I stated, a traffic stop for speeding and an improper lane change, yet somehow during the traffic stop, a drug-sniffing canine was called in. Now, this passenger is 65 years old, so what the hell would lead the police to call in a canine for a 65-year-old? So there's clearly more to the story, but that has yet to be released. But if you were stopped, for you folks who may have been stopped while actually carrying a passenger, did the police interact with your passenger? Now, coming from the city of Chicago like myself, during my 20s, my 30s, getting profiled by police happened quite often. And I do believe in this case, this entire traffic stop with the canine dog and all of this shit took place from something that the police had knowledge of before they stopped the folk. You don't call in a canine for a 65-year-old guy. That makes no sense unless this is a known drug runner or something of that nature. You just don't call the police. So what do you guys think? You think there was a profile, do you think the police were profiling this Uber? Now, cut from the city of Chicago, I'm under the impression there are 3 things that can get you profiled by police. And I tried my best not to do these when I was a young man driving in Chicago. I just didn't want to deal with the police. They were heavy-handed, and some would even argue racist. The 3 things are having a vehicle that is too flashy, rims, tints, add-ons, a lot of chrome, or just simply having an expensive car. That can get the attention of police and get you pulled over when you're doing nothing wrong. Having a vehicle that's too raggedy, too shabby, using red tape because your tail light is cracked or, rusted out or, just simply driving a jalopy. Once again, that will attract the attention of police and that can get you pulled over. Now, those 2 things, it is what it is. But the third one here, this is the one that can not only get you profiled, but unfortunately can lead to loss of life if you do the wrong thing during a traffic stop. Having too many heads in the vehicle. And the reason I'm highlighting that is because that, as an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, is part of your damn job description. Putting a bunch of heads in your vehicle, particularly at night. Driving through certain neighborhoods, the police headlights hit the back of your window and they notice 4 or 5 heads in the vehicle. I've actually had an officer tell me, we assume that if there are that many people in the car, at least one of them has a warrant, drugs on them, or some type of firearm they shouldn't have. That is why we often stop cars with multiple heads in them. So for you folks doing trips in urban areas, picking up a bunch of males, this is what you could subject yourself to. Now, fortunately, in this case, Freeman Allen was pulled over. The driver had the opportunity to tell law enforcement, I don't know who the hell this guy is. I'm an Uber driver. The Ohio State Patrol took the phone from the driver and was able to verify he was a rideshare driver. And the article claims he will not be charged with anything. As I stated, the passenger is out on $20,000 bond. He has been charged with possession of cocaine. But nevertheless, the problem with being profiled, or even in situations like this, and I'm bringing this up because, like I said, we have all picked up nefarious characters. We know Uber and Lyft don't give a damn about our safety. They're not running background checks on the passengers getting in our vehicle. So if you happen to have a passenger that's a desperado, you know what I mean when I say a desperado? I'm not going back to prison no matter what. The minute the blue lights come on, that person's grabbing at a weapon or grabbing at the door handle, I'm going to run. Understand that when the police do a traffic stop and there are multiple heads in the car, as far as the police are concerned, you are one of them. If one of those passengers decide to get in a gunfight with police or draw down on police, police are going to light up the whole damn car. And there's not a jury in America that would convict a police officer for shooting up an Uber car if there are shots coming out of that vehicle and they end up killing the Uber driver. So understand that when you're picking up these type of characters, what they do in your car could lead to your own demise, which is also why I often encourage in my videos, discrimination is okay. You picking up 3 or 4 dudes in the middle of the night, that's a no-no. Do not do that. But in this case, I just wanted to ask you guys that because, you know, we're on the road the entire time and there is a chance you could be pulled over by police. I fortunately have not had it happen yet, but I know a host of you folks have. I would like to know, how did the police essentially treat you in regards to who's in the back of your car? Because you got one passenger sitting in the back or sitting in the passenger seat. They often will ask, who is that individual? Now, I've said in many videos, particularly in regards to safety, I do not encourage putting Uber and Lyft stickers on your vehicle because they can attract the wrong people to your vehicle. However, this is a case where if the police pulled the car over and it had an Uber or Lyft sticker on there, they would be more apt to believe, well, this driver must operate for Uber or Lyft. But I understand the police don't trust a damn thing when they pull you over. They don't take your word at face value on anything. So even if you got the stickers on your car, they may still assume you are, you know, running a drug run with this particular passenger. But yeah, if you get pulled over, and we have all picked up people, you know, many of us have picked up folks that are either felons or, you know, running from some shit or running to some shit. You pull over for a traffic stop and someone darts out of your vehicle because they're running from the law. Understand the police are going to hold you and detain you as a hostage until they get to the bottom of this. Now, this gentleman here being found with 2 containers of cocaine in his vehicle, I'm assuming that this Uber driver was probably detained for probably damn near an hour while they tried to figure out, you know, if he knew the individual, going through his phone and all of that shit. Probably had him sitting in the back of a car handcuffed. So clearly he's not taking any calls. He's out of service. I'd be very surprised if that driver finished the day doing any more Uber trips. After spending an hour in the back of a police car, wondering if you're not going to face a huge possession charge of a controlled substance, you're probably done driving for the day. But I just wanted to bring this to you because if you drive in urban high crime areas, that even as an Uber or Lyft driver, your chances of getting profiled are high. And I'm going to say, just like with discrimination, and I don't mind having racial conversations, this applies even more if you're black. If you are an African American or a minority engaging in ride sharing in an urban area picking up other minorities, the chances of you being profiled are significantly higher. I mean, it's just the way it is. If you're an old white guy and you got 2 or 3 black guys in the back seat of your car, people are going to be more likely to believe you are an Uber driver. But if you're a black guy and you got other black dudes in the car, like if I pick up 2 or 3 black dudes, I'm going to have to do a hellified amount of convincing to the police that I'm an Uber or a Lyft driver. They're going to assume you're with them. So if they get crazy and do something wrong or start talking shit or take off running, until I prove otherwise, I am a member of that group to law enforcement, which is why I stated if one of them decide to start shifting around during a traffic stop or look like they're reaching for something and the police decides to shoot up the vehicle, there's not a jury in hell that is going to hold that police officer accountable for my demise or any other rideshare driver's demise. He was protecting his life. We got a felon in the back that was messing with him, and he did what he had to do. So pay attention to who you're picking up. This could literally happen to any of us. It's your boy Tim, as always. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next video.